What is faith? Is it really vital to human existence? Hello everyone, Ryan here. The End of Faith by Sam Harris. It's a pretty good, decent read. I mean, it's pretty well written. I guess you could say it does have atheistic leanings. Essentially, the core message of it is that the author believes that having too much faith can be a bad thing. More specifically, having too much extreme faith can be a very bad thing for not only the individual but society as a whole. And I would definitely say that I agree with about 10% of what he writes about, such as various religious groups or religious orders who expect their members or expect people to follow or adhere to a very strict set of laws, and for those who don't adhere to these laws, they end up being outcast, shamed, physically and emotionally punished, and unfortunately most of the time they end up being killed. And so to me, that definitely seems archaic. That's definitely an archaic form of dogma, at least to me. And granted, I know there's a lot of people in this world who don't see it that way. But in regards to that, to what Sam Harris writes about, I agree with that much. That, yeah, certain religious dogma, religious laws or rules or moral codes or whatnot, they are archaic. Now granted, maybe, I don't know, at some point, thousands upon thousands of years ago, they served a purpose, a need, or even if most likely that need was just to control people or attempt to get people to cooperate, even if under the guise of fear and punishment and whatnot. But nowadays, I feel as though we should have evolved enough by now that we can move away from that. And that's another thing too that Sam Harris writes about in The End of Faith, that he believes people can cooperate and be kind to one another without resorting to religious dogma, especially religious dogma that tends to instill fear into people, and even to a greater extent, try to control people and punish them. So as far as that part of the book goes, I agree with that. But after that, the rest of the book just seems as though Sam Harris just repeats himself. Even though he attempts to use different examples, and he tries to, it's just really ends up being redundant. And mostly because all he really tries to do is make sure that the core message of the book gets across to people. And that is, of course, again, that too much extreme faith can be a bad thing. And which I would say, yeah, I kind of agree with. The one big thing that I disagree with is the fact that he writes about that he believes religious tolerance isn't a good thing, that he believes it's a bad thing, and that it can and it should be policed. Now, for me, I mean, I don't really see that as being a possibility. I mean, at least not right now, or but then I mean, I tend to believe that people have the right to believe in whatever they want to believe in. So long as they're not hurting themselves or especially hurting other people. I mean, I don't care if somebody wants to worship a box of Twinkies. It's granted. I mean, some people might say worshiping a box of Twinkies is a bad thing or can be a very bad thing and hurt people or whatnot. We really have no way of knowing that for sure. But yeah, I believe people have the right to believe whatever they want to believe, as long as they're not hurting themselves or other people. But Sam Harris really doesn't seem to believe that. So I mean, on that point, I disagree with him. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's another thing too. In this book, he seems to kind of go back and forth, kind of contradicting himself somewhat. But again, I think that's just because, he's trying to pretty much just really ram the core message down people's throats. But I mean, ultimately, it comes across as redundant, and I mean, I don't know. That's what I think. Ultimately, I give it 3 out of 5 stars because it is written pretty well. And I don't know if you consider yourself to have atheistic leanings, and you might like to read this book. But I think ultimately, you'd be able to. Anybody would be able to notice right away the fact that just the author is just repeating himself a lot throughout the book. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. There was maybe some parts that I kind of read through quickly, just because, it was just the same thing pretty much. So yeah, that's the review for The End of Faith by Sam Harris. 3 out of 5 stars. That'll do it for this review. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Till next time, keep it real, keep on rocking. Peace.